on my left here, and we have given specific timing to the media, and we will welcome any and every media to come inside the aircraft at the assigned times, and our agency or our PR folks will tell you what those timings are. But I would love to have you in small batches because it's an airplane. I want you to see the cockpit, the crew rest area, the beautiful business first class, and the economy section, and we will be happy to tell you all the different features of this airplane, which is marvelous. The airplane is completely done. It's got functioning IFE, all the flight testing. Opportunity to come and film the 787 for the videographers. Photographers can take still pictures. It's an absolutely gorgeous airplane. It's designed by Air India. Colors and everything inside is by Air India, and it's airplane ready to go into service. We flew from Seattle to Delhi non-stop for just under 14 hours, and it was a beautiful flight. And then we flew yesterday to Shamshabad first, and then we came to Begumpet. And we're going to go back from here to Delhi and again non-stop back to Seattle at the end of this show. So with that, I'm going to start talking about our presentation. So if you'll go to the next slide. And can you guys just clear that part so I can see the monitor? That's all. Okay, perfect. You're fine. Okay, so I'm going to talk about only 3 things today, but predominantly today is all about 787 Dreamliner, to a lesser extent about Indian aviation and when we are headed, and we all know it's not in the best situation, but every effort is being made to make it better, okay? So the 3 things are state of aviation industry. Let's go there. Okay, so the worldwide, our forecast today is that world will need in the next 20 years about 33,500 new airplanes valued at $4 trillion. That's for the whole world, okay? And what it shows, and we'll give you copies of this presentation, that dominant part of that is the 737 type airplane, followed by the 787, 777 type aircraft, and the dollar values of them are almost equal, and that's what this chart shows. Go to the next one. And the market is becoming bigger and bigger in Asia Pacific. This is the region where the growth is coming. This is the region where future is looking better compared to US, which is doing slightly better, but still not doing that great. The GDP growth is still about 2%. The Europe is undergoing its own problem with its debt crisis in Greece and other parts of the Europe. So Asia Pacific and Middle East are the 2 areas where we're going to see a lot of future growth in aviation. And if you see the red bar there, that's Asia. 37% of the future sales are coming out of Asia, and that's really the key. Next. However, if you look at where the traffic is growing the fastest, it's right here in India, because India is showing on a 20% level the 8% growth, and that is the highest growth anywhere in the world. You can see North America is growing slow, but it's from a large base. However, from the smaller base, India is growing rapidly, and we think for the next foreseeable future, India will still be the largest growth in the world, despite the problems we are facing in fuel, despite the problems we are facing in terms of capacity. Next. And so what is our forecast for India? This is not new data, but I just want to repeat it. Of that $4 trillion and 33,500 aircraft, India will account for $150 billion, which is almost about 4%. And this is what I said in my talk this morning during the inaugural. India will need about 1,320 airplanes. 81% of those are going to be 737s, A320s, because that's the dominant market. And for going international, I must tell you proudly that Boeing is dominating our 777s, and soon 27 787s for Air India, 10 787s for Jet. That is going to be the backbone of the long-haul fleet of India across anybody. And that's really the positive news. And if you look at the value of that, it is about 1/3 of the total dollar value of $150 billion, and 2/3 of it is roughly $150 billion which is about 100 billion, is going into the 737 type market. We have always said that India as a market has no demand for A380. There will be no airline in India that will successfully operate A380, and we don't see any future for A380 in India. And we know only one airline has ordered, and we don't want to comment on what is happening, but that's the only airline that has operated, that has said they will operate in the future. Next. And I just want to touch on that. Globally, the industry profit forecast is steadily coming down. This morning, IATA Director General Tony Tyler was here, but I talked to him later on briefly, and clearly the fuel price is one element that is affecting everybody, and it is really going to be a big issue going forward to all airlines, not just airlines in India. So we need to watch for that. The profit expected now this year in Asia Pacific is about 2.1 billion, and the worldwide it's only 3.5 billion. So it tells you how dominant Asia Pacific again is in terms of operational part. Next. Now, the Indian aviation industry. I'm very pleased to tell you our domestic growth has been phenomenal. I mean, we're done doing double-digit growth. We have never stopped. And I'm going to show you a chart with actual numbers, which is still today by far the best growth rate anywhere in the world. But what is the problem with that growth is it is not a profitable growth. That growth is continuously plagued with losses to the tune of billion to $1.5 billion. And it is my opinion that no industry can sustain that time after time. And I'm going to show you a chart, and I'm going to tell you what needs to be done in India if we want to regain the health of the aviation industry. Today, we heard this morning, there are challenges in this industry. We totally agree with it. But we are also bullish on India because this is where only the surface has been scratched in the aviation market. There's a lot more that can be done, and a lot more improvements are happening, not only airlines, but airports such as the Hyderabad airport, Bangalore airport, Mumbai, Delhi. You look at it, completely dark window, and you don't have those shades that needs maintenance that goes up and down. And there'll be many other benefits. And as you come in the airplane, we'll talk to you in person on those kinds of things. The other features about engines, which are powerful, at the same time more fuel efficient, has less noise, is again a feature that is very important. And finally, it's got other features, as I mentioned, composite materials. Then it has got advanced transonic wing, high lift systems, gust elevation system, and we experienced all that. If you have two airplanes going side by side in the same gust, you will find that if you are in the 787, you're not going to feel it as much, and I'll show you why in a minute. So let's go to the next one. So we are now focused on entry into service. This program started in 2006, and now first of the model cert is working on the GE flight